What's the worst storm you've ever had in your life? I mean, it ranks as a category 5. It's a 10 on a scale of 1 to 8. How many scales are there, 1 to 8? But this one's a 10. Do you know in the Bible there's not just one storm? It's not just simply the disciples waking Jesus up because he's in the bow of the boat and they're terrified they're going to drown. There's a second storm, and it's worse than the first storm. You know why? Because in this storm, Jesus isn't even in the boat. 3 Gospels out of 4 talk about this second storm. Matthew, Mark, and John. And it's quite a moment. They're doing what Jesus commanded that they do, and they're rowing against the wind and the waves. Jesus is on the mountaintop praying, and they're finding themselves not making any headway, and to the point that who knows what's about to happen. Now, the Bible says at about 3 o'clock in the morning, the 4th watch of the night, there's a figure, and the figure's walking on the waves. Now, do you think it's drunk Jesus? I don't think it's drunk Jesus. I don't think he's going up and down. I think he's hovering above the water. And there he says to them, "It is I, don't be afraid." You need some peace in the midst of a storm. Peter's response is going to be, "Lord, if it's you, bids me to come." And Jesus does, and everybody gives Peter a hard time for beginning to drown, but nobody else got out of the boat, only Peter. And when he did, of course, Jesus caught him. "Oh, ye of little faith." Do you know that as soon as they got into the boat, John chapter 6 says they made it to shore? Now that's going to drive Einstein crazy. He knew it was possible, but he didn't know how. Jesus has a habit of repetition in the Gospels. He teaches over and over the same type of thing by ratcheting up either the intellectual understanding or the circumstantial experience. This is now the second time, and Jesus is asking the boys, "Who am I to you?" And he's increasing their perspective on who he is. How? By doing something they could not have even imagined. Who would have ever thought the Jesus of the Bible didn't need to be in the boat? Jesus can find you in any storm. Jesus can make his way to you regardless of the circumstances he allows. Jesus always has an answer to your problem. What you need to do is stay obedient to Jesus. The bow of that boat was pointing in the right direction, and cry out to Jesus, knowing that he answers the cry of those who call to him. Jesus knows how to get to you. The wind and the waves, they just announce Jesus. The real storm's him, not what he allowed. And if he says, "Child, I bidst you, you can come," get out of the boat. You'll never know who he is until you believe the one who's hovering above the water is able in all circumstances to uphold you in all seasons, to provide, to protect, and to give you all the affection that is necessary for the child he created. He loves you with an everlasting love. And doesn't he say, "I have plans to give you a hope and a future, to prosper you and not to harm you"? This was not the day of the death of the disciples. It was the day of their deliverance. Do you know what they said after the second storm? Jesus was going to ask, "Who do people say that I am?" Then he was going to say, "Who do you say that I am?" After the second storm, it was Peter who responded on behalf of all the boys to say, "You're the one. You're the Son of God. You're the Messiah." It's what they needed to know who Jesus really was. God will give you what you need so that you learn who he really is.